Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 10 Part 34 based on novel. So let's start. How Jiryo maintained his kneeling stance in the air. His expression was exceptionally cold, and even Lin Dong's earlier words had not caused his expression to change. Even Lin Dong could not help but secretly praise such a strong state of mind. Young brother Lin Dong, has he also been corrupted by the Yimo? Zhu Li could not help but ask as he looked at Hao Jiryo. After all, Hao Jiryo was a relatively outstanding person amongst the younger generation of the celestial demon Martin tribe. If what Lin Dong said was true, it would indeed be a big blow to them. Lin Dong's black eyes were unblinkingly fixed on Hao Jiryo as he spoke in a faint voice. First Elder, 100 years ago, his talent within the celestial demon Martin tribe could only be considered mediocre. Why did his strength suddenly soar? Don't you feel that this matter is rather strange? Zhu Li's expression slightly altered. If my guess is right, this brother Hao Jiryo has likely borrowed the power of the Yimo in order for him to reach the samsara stage in 100 years. Moreover, I am able to detect the ripple of the eternal illusion demon flower from his body. I believe that those eternal illusion demon flowers in the heavenly cave were secretly planted by him. Sharpness gathered in Lin Dong's eyes while his voice was now much icier. The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe had an ordinary expression. However, those eyes of his, which contained an endless imposing aura, were locked onto Hao Jiryo. Killing intent, heartache and regret were present in them. Hao Jiryo, is what he said true? Zhu Li's face was steely green as he explosively cried out. The many members of the celestial demon Martin tribe below lifted their heads and stared at Hao Jiryo. Most of them could not believe it. It was likely that they did not expect this usually warm spring-like companion would actually hide his true self so well. Ha ha, I was so close. I never imagined a hateful person like you would appear just as I was about to succeed. Hao Jiryo, whose face was tilted downwards, suddenly gently shook his shoulders as a laughter filled with a dense murderous intent spread. As he slowly stood up, an evil aura rose, causing him to no longer have his usual warmth. Instead, he appeared unusually sinister. You evil bastard! Zhu Li's entire body trembled, while his face was exceptionally furious. He pointed at Hao Jiryo as his heart rapidly thudded. He had nearly handed the position of the tribe leader's successor into the hands of such a person. You are a member of our celestial demon Martin tribe. Yet, you colluded with the Yimo and tried to murder the tribe elders. Bastard! Hao Jiryo appeared quite calm at this moment. He glanced at the raging Zhu Li, before looking towards little Martin below, who was staring at him with calm eyes, and laughed. I was merely resentful. Back then, I was the person whom the tribe was least concerned about. Even though I trained with my life on the line, I was still inferior to Big Brother Ajia, who was lazy in his training. He was always the most dazzling person in the tribe, and I was merely a pitiful follower at his side. At that time, Big Brother Ajia would come to my aid when I was bullied. Ha ha, but I did not feel even the slightest bit of gratitude, because I will not accept it. Hence, the more he helped me, the more I desired to step on him. Therefore, 100 years ago, I passed information of him traveling outside to some Yimo. Unfortunately, this still failed to kill him. You are actually the reason Ajia was ambushed back then? Zhu Li's fists were tightly clenched. There was an intense fury on his elderly face. The face of the celestial demon Martin tribe leader by the side was completely emotionless. Even little Martin below had a calm face. However, Wu Zhong and the rest around him were exceptionally furious. From the looks of it, all of them wanted to attack and kill Hao Jiryo. Subsequently, I received the power of the Yimo. Just look at me. Isn't the result good? If it was not because of this fellow's sudden appearance, the position of tribe leader successor would be mine. Moreover, once all the top experts within the heavenly cave are killed, the celestial demon Martin tribe will also fall under my control. At that time, all of you will know just who is the most outstanding person in the celestial demon Martin tribe. Hao Jiryo spread his arms. The smile on his face was extremely feverish and twisted. A warped heart. No wonder the Yimo managed to get to you. Lindong shook his head and said, however, your dreams have already been shattered. Not only will you fail to become the leader of the Demon Martin tribe, but you will also be cast out by your tribe. You do not deserve the bloodline of the celestial Demon Martin tribe. Hao Jiryo's pupils contracted. He stared at Lindong as his lips split open into a twisted smile. Who do you think you are? Do you think that someone like you has the right to comment on whether I am deserving? Hao Jiryo, this old one will personally capture you. You are indeed unworthy of possessing such bloodline. Hence, I will extract the bloodline from your body. Zhu Li's tone was sinisterly cold. He took a step forward and his body appeared in front of Hao Jiryo. Vast and mighty Yuan power surged and swept towards the latter. Hao Jiryo merely laughed loudly at the sky upon seeing this. His body shook and a black fragrance spread from within his body. First Elder, that is the hallucination fragrance of the eternal illusion demon flower. You will fall into a hallucination if you inhale it into your body. Lindong's eyes shivered slightly as he hurriedly cried out. Zhu Li's expression changed when he heard Lindong's voice. He waved his sleeve and Yuan power shot out like a rainbow, shattering the black fragrance which was drifting towards him. My body is filled with the hallucination fragrance of the eternal illusion demon flower. My body will self-destruct if you kill me, and the hallucination fragrance will envelope the entire celestial demon Martin tribe, and all of you will fall into a hallucination. At that time, the celestial demon Martin tribe might well disappear from this world. Hao Jiryo spread his arms and heartily laughed. You evil bastard! Zhu Li and the other elders let out a furious cry. However, none of them dared to make any moves. They were well aware of how potent this eternal illusion demon flower was. Those who were stronger could put up some resistance. However, it would be a huge problem if their ordinary tribe members were affected. Consider myself unlucky this time around. However, I have not lost. When I return in the future, this celestial demon Martin tribe will definitely fall into my hands. Hao Jiryo smiled faintly and slowly began to withdraw. It is a little too early for you to be happy. Lindong stared at Hao Jiryo, who was about to retreat. Soon after, he smiled and flicked his finger. Warm white light whistled out from the tip of his finger. Finally, it transformed into an ancient stone talisman in the air. Warm white light began to pour down from the stone talisman that hung high in the sky. After which, it wrapped around Hao Jiryo's body. As this happened, Hao Jiryo could sense that the black hallucination fragrance on his body was actually being gradually purified. This is the ancestor stone? It has actually fallen into your hands. Hao Jiryo's expression finally began to change upon seeing this as he shouted in a dark voice. You have good eyes. Lindong smiled and said, Elder Zhu Li, you can attack now. Many thanks, young brother Lindong. Zhu Li nodded. A frosty look flashed across his elderly face as his body moved and transformed into a ray of light. An extremely vast and mighty attack came sweeping towards Hao Jiryo from all directions. Bang bang bang. Hao Jiryo used all his strength to block the attack. However, without the eternal illusion demon flower, he was obviously no match for Zhu Li. He was rapidly pushed back while his aura swiftly weakened. Boom! Another clash occurred. Zhu Li's body did not move. However, Hao Jiryo ended up spitting out blood and flying backwards. His face gradually turned pale. Hao Jiryo, obediently surrender. On account of our past relationship, the tribe will let you keep your life. Zhu Li stood in the air and walked towards Hao Jiryo. Vast and mighty Yuan power gathered behind him. It appeared like a circle of life and death and was filled with mystery. Ha ha! Let me keep my life. There was ridicule on Hao Jiryo's lips. He wiped off the trace of blood on the corner of his lip, while his eyes suddenly became ferocious. However, I do not wish to let all of you live. I don't think that there is any purpose for this celestial demon Martin tribe to continue existing. Stubborn fool. Zhu Li's expression became cold as murderous desire surged within his eyes. He flipped his hand and a huge life and death circle suddenly shot out from behind him. How Jiryo looked at the life and death circle rushing towards him. He suddenly clenched his teeth as both of his hands formed a seal. After which, he suddenly clenched them in the direction of the two elders who had been trapped by the leader of the demon Martin tribe earlier. Bang! The bodies of those two elders exploded when he clenched his hand. A mist of blood pervaded the air and a dense evil demonic aura spread. After which, it swiftly gathered in front of Hao Jiryo before transforming into a huge black vortex. The life and death circle ruthlessly smashed into the black vortex. However, it did not even stir the slightest ripple. It appeared as though the former had fallen into a bottomless pit and disappeared within it. Lin Dong looked at the rotating black vortex as his pupils abruptly contracted. Hao Jiryo stood behind the black vortex and gave Lin Dong's group a sinister smile. A finger cut his shoulder and blood spluttered from it, bringing along a broken arm as they shot into the black vortex. Welcome, Your Majesty. Exterminate the celestial demon Martin tribe. Fresh blood flowed into the black vortex. After which, Hao Jiryo knelt down. His expression appeared incomparably fanatical and devout. The black vortex frantically rotated. Countless piercing sounds rose from within it and reverberated across the place, causing one's blood to churn wildly. All members of the tribe, listen up, the tribe will enter an alert state. Zhu Li quickly cried out upon seeing this scene. After which, countless rushing wind sounds echoed across the sky. Many figures appeared in the air while majestic auras permeated the place. The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe watched this scene with an ice-cold expression. There was a frightening ripple quietly gathering in his hand. Summoning an Yimo King He. Lin Dong stared at the black vortex as a grave expression flashed across his eyes. Having personally seen an Yimo King, he was naturally well aware of how troublesome it was to deal with them. The black vortex continued to rotate. Soon after, Lin Dong could hear low and deep footsteps being transmitted from deep within the vortex. After which, two pairs of pale arms slowly extended from the vortex while accompanied by an evil aura. They pressed against the edge of the vortex. Soon after, two extremely fair and strange faces appeared in front of countless pairs of eyes. Lin Dong softly inhaled an icy breath of air as the hands within his sleeves suddenly clenched tightly. Damn it, two Yimo Kings had actually come. A black swirl, which looked just like the large mouth of a demon, slowly rotated in the sky. Endless amount of evil demonic aura continuously surged out from within, causing the surrounding temperature to fall. Meanwhile, the originally dense natural yuan power also scattered off, as if they had encountered some hateful creature. There were two figures standing in front of that swirl. They wore black clothes and they had disheveled black hair. Both of them looked fairly similar and they both looked sickly pale. Their lips were curled, giving them a sexy yet evil look. The both of them did not speak when they showed up. Nevertheless, everyone could feel an indescribable pressure enveloping the entire place. Every celestial demon Martin tribe member present, including the tribe leader, had a solemn expression on their typically calm faces. Two Yimo Kings. That was two genuine reincarnation stage experts. In fact, even their celestial demon Martin tribe did not dare to underestimate such a lineup. Ha ha. So it's actually the tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe. From the looks of it, you have actually managed to escape from the hallucination of the eternal illusion demon flowers. The two Yimo Kings' somewhat lengthy eyes surveyed the place. After which, their eyes paused on the celestial demon Martin tribe leader before they spoke with a laugh. Two Yimo Kings. This is quite a hefty sum. Looks like you guys have been eyeing my celestial demon Martin tribe for quite some time. The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe replied in a faint voice. State your names. Ha ha, I am the Heaven Illusion King. One of the black-clothed men smiled. If not for the evil demonic aura permeating over his face, he would have seemed like a scholarly individual. I am the Earth Illusion King. The other Yimo King smilingly said. It turns out that even after you guys were defeated during the ancient Great War, you guys still refuse to give up and your evil intent persists. The celestial demon Martin tribe leader shook his head and said. We only lost back then because your side had a symbol ancestor. Now that the symbol ancestor is dead, all life in this plane shall ultimately be under our control. The Heaven Illusion King laughed. Originally, we were planning to secretly eliminate all the top experts in your celestial demon Martin tribe. However, from the looks of it, it seems like our plan has been exposed. The Earth Illusion King frowned slightly. After which, he turned to look at a kneeling Hao Jiryo before he said in a faint voice, "Hao Jiryo, you have truly let us down." Hao Jiryo's body trembled. He clenched his teeth and said, "Sir, the main reason for this is because of that Lindong, who appeared out of nowhere. He entered the heavenly cave and rescued the tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe." Oh! The Heaven Illusion King duo had a slight change in their expressions. They rotated their eyes and looked at Lindong, who was standing beside the celestial demon Martin tribe leader. A mere advanced profound death stage human is actually able to handle the eternal illusion demon flowers. The Ancestor Stone is in his hands. He should have used the Ancestor Stone to break the eternal illusion demon flowers. Hao Jiryo explained. The Ancestor Stone has actually landed in your hands. A tinge of shock finally appeared on the Heaven Illusion King duo's faces. As Yimo, they naturally knew about this powerful divine object that was created by the symbol ancestor during the ancient times in order to deal with their Yimo tribe. Lindong did not reply as he merely stared intently at the Heaven Illusion King duo. Meanwhile, Yuan power rapidly circulated within his body, while mental energy filled his mind. Clearly, he had entered into his highest alert level. However, you are far too weak. The Ancestor Stone will be of little use in your hands. The Heaven Illusion King casually laughed before he quickly continued, "Forget about it. It doesn't matter if our plan has been exposed. This situation is still within our expectations. However, Hao Jiryo, if you did not complete the other part of the plan, I believe that there is no need for you to continue living." "Sir, I have already done as you instructed. Everything is ready and we can begin at any time." Hao Jiryo hurriedly replied. "Not bad." The Heaven Illusion King finally nodded in satisfaction. After which, he looked at the celestial demon Martin tribe leader, as well as the densely packed celestial demon Martin tribe experts, before he laughed. "Originally, I was planning to slowly weaken your celestial demon Martin tribe. However, from the looks of it, I can only take extreme measures now. I'm afraid that you don't have the ability to do so." The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe had an icy cold expression as he took a step forward. Terrifying Yuan power ripples spread from him and it seemed as though the entire world began to tremble intensely at this very moment. It seems like this peak expert of the celestial demon Martin tribe could no longer control his killing desire and was about to make a move. "Activate the tribe guarding formation." Zhu Li's wore an icy cold expression as he cried out. "Understood." Low and orderly cries reverberated across the sky. Soon after, many light pillars erupted from within the celestial demon Martin tribe. Following which, these light pillars entwined with each other and formed a pair of hundreds of thousand feet large brilliant bat wings. Then, the bat wings extended and enveloped the entire celestial demon Martin tribe. Meanwhile, there were mighty and unfathomable ripples undulated on the bat wings. "Since you have arrived, you should stay here. Being killed by our celestial demon Martin tribe does not diminish your prestige as Yimo kings," the celestial demon Martin tribe leader said in an indifferent voice. "Ha ha, indeed worthy of being the celestial demon Martin tribe. You guys are as arrogant as always." The Heaven Illusion King duo laughed out loud. However, soon after, they shook their heads before a faint venomous expression climbed onto their faces. "However, the unlucky ones today might perhaps be your celestial demon Martin tribe. Although the both of you are powerful, I'm afraid that the both of you are too naive if you believe that the both of you alone can destroy my celestial demon Martin tribe." The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe chuckled. "Is that so?" A grin appeared on the faces of the Heaven Illusion King duo. Soon after, they suddenly extended their fair hands and gently pressed them together. After which, the smile on the corner of their lips suddenly became cruel and brutal. "Endless illusion." The voice that was emitted from their mouths was icy cold and indifferent. Meanwhile, there was a rich murderous intent and a diseased insanity within their voices. The land suddenly began to tremble. After which, everyone saw black light breaking out from the peak of many surrounding mountains. The black light gathered together before they transformed into many black flowers, in front of the stunned eyes of Lindong's group. They were eternal illusion demon flowers. I have secretly buried the seeds of the eternal illusion demon flowers in the mountains, in the shape of a formation over the past 100 years. Now that the two great lords have activated them, the entire celestial demon Martin tribe will be covered by the formation created by the eternal illusion demon flowers. Therefore, there is nowhere for you guys to run. Hao Jiao lifted his head. His expression was venomous as he stared at Lindong's group and said with a laugh, "You bastard." Zhu Li's eyes were furious while his entire body trembled with anger. Never did he expect that Hao Jiao was actually scheming against their celestial demon Martin tribe over the last 100 years, to think that so many elders greatly trusted him. Many eternal illusion demon flowers swayed on the surrounding mountaintops. After which, a seemingly deafening sound wave was emitted before many black light rays spread. Finally, they turned into a black light cover that gradually enveloped the bat wings formation in the sky. As the black light cover began to spread, some of the weaker celestial demon Martin tribe members began to feel giddy. In fact, even their minds became somewhat blurry. This was a sign that they were about to descend into a hallucination. Lindong furrowed his brows tightly when he saw this scene. White warm light currently enveloped his body. Hence, thanks to the protection from the Ancestor Stone, this formation had little impact on him. However, for ordinary members of the celestial demon Martin tribe, the formation was extremely harmful towards them. "Tribe leader, what should we do?" Zhu Li looked at the tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe with a grave expression, before he asked in a deep voice. "Currently, most of our top experts are in a cultivation seclusion within the heavenly cave. Moreover, they have also fallen into a hallucination and are unable to awaken quickly." The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe narrowed his eyes and said, "I will attack and stop a Yimo king. First Elder, you will lead 10 Samsara stage experts to handle the other Yimo king." Currently, Zhu Li had already touched reincarnation and his strength far surpassed that of an ordinary Samsara stage expert. Together with another 10 ultimate Samsara stage experts, it was possible for him to stop a Yimo king. However, that formation. Zhu Li had a grave expression. The most troublesome matter was not those two Yimo kings. Instead, it was the eternal illusion demon flowers formation that covered their entire celestial demon Martin tribe. That was because if the hallucination fragrance continued to accumulate, it was likely that even powerful Samsara stage experts would be affected. Hence, even less needed to be said about ordinary tribe members. The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe frowned. He could detect just how powerful that formation was. Clearly, the Yimo have made thorough preparations over the years and it was obvious that they wanted to deliver a massive blow to their celestial demon Martin tribe. This formation seems to be made up of 69 eternal illusion demon flowers. It seems like they have truly spent a huge sum in order to deal with the celestial demon Martin tribe. Standing beside them, Lindong's sharp eyes swept across the many mountains before he said, "It was relatively difficult to raise eternal illusion demon flowers and it required them to fork out a heavy price. However, the Yimo tribe was actually willing to use so many of them in order to deal with the celestial demon Martin tribe. This was truly a generous sum. The hallucination fragrance of the eternal illusion demon flower is extremely powerful and even a Samsara stage expert does not dare to easily approach it." Zhu Li said in a deep voice. Since the top experts in the heavenly cave had yet to awaken, they were currently severely short of manpower. A glint flashed across Lindong's eyes after he heard this. After which, he stared intently at those black demonic flowers swaying on the surrounding mountaintops. There was a heated expression surging in his eyes. "First Elder, leave that formation to me. The both of you only need to focus on dealing with the two Yimo kings." Lindong smilingly said. "You?" The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe and Zhu Li were both startled. "Of course, I will also need some help." Lindong smiled and said, "Do the both of you not trust me?" Ha ha, if young friend Lin Dong can take care of the formation, my celestial demon Martin tribe will owe you a favor. The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe waved his hand and laughed. Lin Dong smiled before his eyes once again focused on those eternal illusion demon flowers. Then, he involuntarily smacked his lips. There were so many eternal illusion demon flowers here. If he could obtain all of them, he would likely be able to advance to the symbol Grandmaster level. This was truly a big gift delivered to his doorstep. Black color flower fragrance circulated and pervaded the sky as a strange ripple enveloped the entire celestial demon Martin tribe. Due to this, the entire sky became foggy and hazy, causing one to feel somewhat dazed. This was an omen that the eternal illusion demon flowers were about to complete the illusion. Once the illusion was completed, the weaker celestial demon Martin tribe members will all be trapped within. Furthermore, even if they awakened, it would still leave them with severe injuries. After all, there was a huge gap between them and the top-tier practitioners in the heavenly cave. Let's attack now. We cannot afford to wait anymore. The leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe looked at this scene and knew that they could not afford to wait around anymore. Understood. Zhu Li nodded solemnly. He waved his sleeves before 10 figures rushed over from below. They were all ultimate experts who have stepped into the samsara stage, and they were considered as the elite of the celestial demon Martin tribe. Everyone else, protect the weaker tribe members. Zhu Li looked below and cried out in a deep voice. Currently, some of the weaker tribe members have already fallen into a hallucination. Therefore, there was a need for powerful individuals to protect them. Young friend Lin Dong, you can pick any of the remaining individuals. All you need to do is to leave some behind in order to protect the rest of the tribe. All right. Lin Dong nodded. Without further ado, his body moved as he swiftly pulled back. In the ancient times, despite the rampant behavior of your Yimo tribe, your tribe was still unable to exterminate our celestial demon Martin tribe. Now, you actually believe that you can exterminate my celestial demon Martin tribe with just 2 Yimo kings alone? What a joke! The celestial demon Martin tribe leader took a step forward before terrifying Yuan power gathered behind him. A reincarnation ripple spread and everything became quiet under this ripple. Ha, whether we succeed or not, we'll find out after we try. The Heaven Illusion King laughed. He clenched his hand before monstrous demonic aura spread. Many mysterious black symbols appeared over his pale face, causing him to appear even more sinister. Bang! The both of them faced each other before sparks flashed. In the next instant, 2 terrifying light figures shot out simultaneously before they collided heavily against each other. After which, both light figures rose into the sky amidst the spreading assault waves. Attack! Zhu Li waved his hand upon seeing this. Immediately, the 10 samsara stage experts behind him roared in unison. Following which, 11 figures shot directly towards the Earth Illusion King. Hao Jiuyo, take control of the formation and eliminate everyone else. The Earth Illusion King glanced at Hao Jiuyo, who was standing behind him, before he stated indifferently. Understood. A brutal expression surfaced in Hao Jiuyo's eyes when he heard this. After which, he stared menacingly at everyone present. After giving his instructions, the Earth Illusion King rushed forward and charged towards Zhu Li's group in an overbearing fashion. Monstrous demonic aura swept forth before he forcefully stopped Zhu Li's group. When Lin Dong saw the earth-shaking battle, which had instantly erupted in the sky, he involuntarily sighed. The lineup for this fight was not inferior to the one he saw back at the Flame Divine Hall. Little Martin. Lin Dong rushed downwards and appeared beside Little Martin. As of now, there were already many experts from the celestial demon Martin tribe gathering around him. Although they were weaker than the elders, they were considered as the elite. An example was Wu Zhong, who had entered the samsara stage. However, there was still a gap between him and the elders. What should we do now? When Little Martin saw this chaotic scene, he was at a loss. After all, they were all extremely wary of those eternal illusion demon flowers. We must break that formation as soon as possible. Otherwise, more and more people will fall into a hallucination as the hallucination fragrance accumulates. Lin Dong glanced at the swaying black flowers on the distant mountaintops, before he said in a deep voice. How do we break it? Little Martin asked. We must remove all 69 Eternal Illusion Demon flowers simultaneously in order to break the formation. However, we are unable to get close to those Eternal Illusion Demon flowers, Wu Zhong frowned and said. He was quite powerful and he could still endure for a while. However, it might be difficult for others to do so. All of you should divide yourselves in 69 groups, with 3 men in each group. After contemplating for a moment, Lin Dong instructed them. Little Martin did not hesitate after hearing this. He waved his hand before the large number of experts from the Celestial Demon Martin tribe that were gathered beside him immediately split in a well-coordinated fashion. Soon after, they formed 69 small groups. This lineup was quite formidable and it caused Lin Dong to secretly praise them in his heart. It's no wonder they were one of the 4 overlord tribes. Such a foundation was truly deserving of respect. I will give each group a Demon Destroyer talisman. This will allow you to temporarily suppress the Eternal Illusion Demon Flower's hallucination fragrance. All of you must cooperate with each other in this extremely short period of time and remove all 69 Eternal Illusion Demon Flowers in order to break the formation. Lin Dong clenched his hand before the Ancestor Stone appeared in his palm. Subsequently, 69 warm white lights shot out and were given to the 69 small groups. Moreover, the Ancestor Stone is only able to produce this amount of Demon Destroyer talismans. Hence, we only have one opportunity. If we fail, we will require a much longer time in order to break the formation. At that time, I'm afraid that things will become even more troublesome. Lin Dong warned with a solemn expression. Understood. The many experts from the Celestial Demon Martin tribe nodded solemnly upon hearing this. What about you? As if he recalled something, Little Martin suddenly turned towards Lin Dong and asked. After which, Wu Zhong and the rest also looked at Lin Dong with a doubtful expression. There is no way that fellow will allow us to break the formation so easily. Hence, I shall deal with him. Lin Dong shrugged his shoulders. After which, he lifted his head and looked at a spot in the sky. At that spot, Hao Jiuyo was staring at them with sinister eyes. Meanwhile, dense black hallucination fragrance circulated around him. It seems like the latter was able to activate the strength of the formation. Are you going to fight with him all by yourself? Little Martin's expression changed. Previously, he had exchanged blows with Hao Jiuyo and he knew how troublesome it was to deal with that fellow. Moreover, he had currently become much stronger, since he was able to utilize the strength of his formation. Why don't I lend you a hand? Lin Dong shook his head. The hallucination fragrance around him is extremely dense. Without the protection from the Ancestor Stone, you are unable to last for long. Relax, I might have a headache dealing with him if he is merely an ordinary Celestial Demon Martin tribe Samsara stage expert. However, it will be a lot less troublesome since he possessed the strength of the Yimo. Most of Lin Dong's techniques were extremely powerful against Yimo. Hence, even though others might find them extremely troublesome to deal with, it was evidently much easier for him to deal with a Yimo compared to an ordinary expert. All right, let us know if you cannot hold on any longer and I will lead some men and assist you. Little Martin frowned. However, there was little he could do right now. Hence, he simply nodded and said, I will. Lin Dong gave a faint smile. He said, all of you should hurry. Let's get moving. Moreover, don't destroy the Eternal Illusion Demon flowers. Pluck them and hand them over to me. I have plans for them. Little Martin nodded. Then, he waved his hand and cried, move. Hundreds of figures immediately rushed forward in all directions after his voice sounded. Their momentum was quite startling. After Little Martin's group swiftly departed, Lin Dong locked his eyes onto Hao Jiuyo, who was standing in the sky. His body moved before he leapt towards the sky. Finally, he appeared in front of the latter. A mere advanced profound death stage brat actually dares to challenge me all by himself? Truly an arrogant bastard. Hao Jiuyo looked at Lin Dong, who had come on his own, before a ridicule rose on his lips as he chuckled. It's enough to deal with you. Lindong laughed before a warm white light filled the space around him. Those hallucination fragrance which were diffusing over would disappear with a sizzling sound upon making contact, and they could not harm Lindong at all. Such shameless words. Do you really think that there is nothing I can do to you since you are protected by the Ancestor Stone? Moreover, since you ruined my plans, I will definitely make you suffer a fate worse than death after I capture you. Hao Jiyo gave a menacing chuckle. Soon after, his hand seals changed before the surrounding black flower fragrance quickly spread. After which, he swung his sleeves before the space shook, and over a dozen huge black vines, which resembled poisonous snakes, penetrated through the empty space and shot explosively towards Lindong with lightning-like speed. Bang! Lindong clenched his hand upon seeing this. Lightning erupted before his lightning emperor scepter appeared. Following which, thunderbolts shot out and tore past over a dozen huge black vines. Those black vines, which could easily ensnare a perfect profound death stage expert, were split apart after those thunderbolts flashed by. The places whereby they were split were as smooth as the surface of a mirror. This power. Hao Jiyo's pupils shrunk when he saw this. That was because he could detect a frightening power from the lightning emperor scepter in Lindong's hands. Thunderbolt ancestral symbol. You are quite sharp. Lindong laughed. I was wondering why you dared to come alone. It turns out you actually have something like this to rely on. However, even though the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol is powerful, with your feeble strength, a treasure like that has merely gone to waste. Any external object is useless in the face of absolute strength. Hao Jiyo laughed. His body shook before his 10,000 feet large black bat wings extended from his back. Immediately, the surrounding yuan power began to churn violently. At this moment, the black hallucination fragrance began to gather swiftly on Hao Jiyo's broken arm, turning it into a mysterious black arm with eternal illusion demon flowers tattooed on it. You are not qualified to play with me, brat. Flapping his bat wings, Hao Jiyo suddenly clenched his black arm tightly. When he felt the vast and mighty ocean-like energy surging within his body, the smile on the corner of his lips grew even more brutal. It is too early to say who is no match for whom. Lindong stomped his foot heavily against the ground. Immediately, a clear and ancient dragon roar was emitted from within his body. After which, jade-colored light gathered behind him. Then, with a puff sound, they broke free from his body and transformed into a pair of 10,000 feet long jade-colored dragon wings. Roar roar! A few hundred dragon-like tattoos roared and circled around Lindong's body. After which, an intense pressure swept forth like floodwaters, involuntarily attracting the attention of the crowd. Moreover, after they saw the 10,000 feet large jade wings behind Lindong, shock promptly surfaced in their eyes. That ripple. The tribe leader of the celestial demon Martin tribe, who was engaging in an intense fight with the Heaven Illusion King, turned his attention at this moment. His peripheral vision drifted towards the skinny figure standing in the sky, while a tinge of shock flashed across his heart. It is actually the primal dragon bone. This video will end here.